Bet you wanna bet that I can get you back inside your head before the summer ends, and spread a little love. Just for a little fun, I'll make you come back to me before the rise of every sun. Baby, it's meant to be, I know you got a man, but he don't understand. You're gonna be a heartbreaker, you're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. There's rhythm in our love, it's impressive, excessive. You can't make this stuff up. My chest beats, it's restless, wakes the neighbors up above. Yeah, baby, come and show me love. Baby, come and show me love, because you're gonna be a heartbreaker, you're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah.
Take a one-way ride, steal us away to find a place we can hide. It wouldn't take much to disappear for a night, just to give in to the need and leave it all behind.
'Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. 'Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. You're gonna be a heartbreaker, you're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. You're gonna be a heartbreaker, you're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. Suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah.
And welcome to Inside the Numbers, folks, with the People's Pundit. I'm your host, Rich Barris, the People's Pundit. So we're going to talk about the summer survey today. But before we do, this is why this survey is so important. This is the only survey where people can get trustworthy. Well, not the only, it's just the only periodic one. There are other good pollsters out there, folks, but there is really only one right now.
That's the most accurate.
That is the most, yeah, I got, pat. But also, there's only one that is asking questions that are this pertinent to the conversation, all right? And why is this important today? Yesterday, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that bans trans girls and women. I don't know why it says that. I mean, trans females, right? Why are we making that distinction in the news and elsewhere? All right. From participating in school sports with biological females. As you well know from the last survey we asked, this is not controversial. This is only controversial to the fake legal experts who are crying about discrimination. And this is only controversial to the tiny, infinitesimal, small, speck molecule size minority that opposes this. This is overwhelming in this country. And you can imagine what it would be like in Florida, which is obviously more to the right of the rest of the country. Especially on certain cultural issues like this.
In irony, Florida is an indicator.
Ironically, yeah, it's a micro. It's still a microcosm. It still is. But ironically, this was done on the first day of Pride Month. So they're trying to make this, the media would love to make this about an TQ issue. Listen, I got to tell you this. I don't know a gay man who has a problem with this. In fact, the truth is, and this is why this is never my hill to die on. I just know too many. I have known and know too many. I have family members, friends. It was, I never found this like an issue, but it's insulting to gay men to do what the media was doing yesterday, which is equivocate them, you know, with trans females. They know they're men. They just like other men. So I don't really see how you make this, you know, once again, it's them espousing a viewpoint that isn't really shared with everybody else. But they do it in a way that makes you, if you didn't know any better, you would think, well, I guess everybody thinks like this, and I must think like this as well. Ron DeSantis keeps this up, he will be the front runner for the 2024 Republican nomination. That's it. End of story. Even Donald Trump is going to have a hard time. Ron DeSantis may not have the gravitas that Donald Trump has, but he is starting to rack up this "I will defend the every person" record. And it will be even hard for Donald Trump to hold and maintain support from a certain percentage of the Republican Party. And it's not just the Republican Party, it's others as well, who will vote as Republicans in the Republican primary for him. Mark my words, that will happen. And Florida, by the way, is a close primary. They will switch over just to vote in Florida and other states like that. All right, so let's take a look at this, because there again, the media, Democrats, they aren't the same damn thing, and the fake legal experts, they are making this about discrimination, when in fact, women who support this are trying to make the case that you are actually reverse discriminating against us. These kinds of issues, and I'm not just saying my opinion here, this is what people in this country think. This sets back women's rights decades.
Oh, yeah.
This sets back women's rights decades. And for them, for the American people, this is about fairness. This is not about civil rights for one group or another. There will always be another group, America. This will never end. As long as they can find a wedge, some group of people, some victim, to use as a cudgel against their political enemies, they will do it, and it will never, ever end. But the American people do not see this like this. For them, this is a matter of fairness. So we will once again bring up this question, okay? Please tell us whether you support or oppose the following. Transgender students participating in sports teams alongside the gender they identify with, such as biological males identifying as females, joining a biological female soccer team, or vice versa. Folks, this is plus 32. Oppose plus 32. And if you remember, if you guys are on the peoplespundit.locals.com community, then you know when we actually nest this question and the responses with that comfort level indicator, the social desirability bias indicators. You know the 16.9% that claim they're undecided are full of crap. They are overwhelmingly mirrors of oppose. What do I mean by that? They look like, they live next to, they live alongside, they work with all of the population in red, not the population in blue. And they just so happen to tell us that they are not comfortable sharing, honestly, their political beliefs with pollsters. Mm-hmm. And for that matter, strangers. For that matter, even sometimes other groups of people, since we ask about 6 different types of people. But strangers or pollsters are the ones we're interested in. There is a tremendous amount of overlap. Keep going down the line, and you find that the sentiment is generally the same, plus 30 or more, roughly plus 30 or more, in all of these other categories. Transgender students competing for sports scholarships against the gender they identify with, such as biological males identifying as females, competing against biological females for a track and field scholarship, or vice versa. Guys, watch Tucker last night? Anybody see it on the Columbia Bugle Twitter? Because I don't really always watch stuff myself, but I do know who clips parts of the shows. Columbia Bugle always clips the part of Tucker that's the most prescient from that episode. And you will find a young athlete, a biologically female young athlete, who was robbed of the chance to prove her athletic work because she was forced to compete against a biological male who thinks he's a woman. And because of nature and science, you can respect the rights of others to live the lives they want to live without denying nature and science. You can do both. It doesn't have to be one or the other, folks. That's a false choice. You can acknowledge that men have denser bone mass, have denser muscle mass. They are physically stronger. You can acknowledge that. Their bodies don't give out as much. By the way, incidentally, even though now they are allowing females to go through SFAS and other special operations, that was the main reason for the DOD study disallowing before Barack Obama's social justice movement started making its way like a cancer through the military, which is ineffective now because of it. This is the reason, because their study showed they just simply couldn't get through the training as much. Folks, I will tell you firsthand that your body just breaks. It just breaks.
And we're designed.
The same is true of men. And guess what? Men were designed to be more durable than women in this kind of...
Mm-hmm.
And men, I hate to tell you, but you're never going to get birthing hips. You're never going to have the gift of life. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. And if by some medical miracle in the future we're able to do that, you're not a man anymore. You would have to change your chromosome or something. I don't know. It's sci-fi. It's like the world of, Journey to the Center of the Earth from modern day. Transgender athletes competing professionally against the gender they identify with, such as biological males identifying as females entering bodybuilding tournaments against biological females. You notice, again, a pattern here. Generally around plus 30 or more. Transgender fighters competing against the gender they identify with, such as biological males identifying as females entering a boxing or mixed martial arts circuit against biological females, or vice versa. Here's why I want to get back to this. This is where their logic becomes flawed. So are you going to discriminate against a transgender female who wants to box or enter an MMA tournament with biological males? If the legal experts are right, then prepare to watch a man beat a woman to an inch of her life in an octagon.
Women rights, yay.
Mr. and Mrs. Progressive. Mr. and Mrs. Progressive, get ready to watch a man, a biological man, beat the hell out of a woman. Because who are we to discriminate against his right to beat up a woman? That isn't progress. That's dementia. That's delusion. Let's take a look one more time at this here graph. Because I don't know how long we got to beat it in their damn heads. This is outrageous. 20%, 27.8, 27.2, 25.9. The most lenient way we could put it still couldn't break 31%. Couldn't even get to a third. And the numbers are actually worse, Laura, and you know it, because that's 16.1 or 16.9, 17.2, 17.1, 16.1. They're full of crap. They just don't feel comfortable enough saying, no, I don't support this. Discrimination. You're discriminating. You're discriminating against intelligence. You got a problem with intelligence. You're discriminating against reason and nature. The logical argument doesn't make sense unless you recognize that eventually We're going to deny nature outright. And we're going to be okay being a barbaric society that, for the sake of virtue signaling and making everybody feel good about themselves, we allow the wholesale beating of women. I didn't know. Call me crazy, but Laura, I did not know women's suffrage and women's rights would have ever thought we'd get back to this point. So in some crazy, I don't even know. I don't know. Honestly, what to. It's like what is it? It's like
you also have to remember those times. These issues were looked as.
But yeah, there were more. Yeah, there was more, and there was more acceptance of certain just realities.
Yeah, and that
certain
that
just realities.
Well,
of course.
Never have this issue.
It just wouldn't have come up. It just wouldn't have come up. Yeah, that's right. Cause yeah, people would never have been able to look at the way, like the women's rights movement would never have believed that we would be at this place, especially since, by the way, most of them were holy warriors. Mm-hmm. They were Protestant women. Just so everybody knows, secular liberals did not fight for either abolition or women's suffrage. That's not who led these movements, folks. Just so we're clear on this stuff. These were Protestant churchgoers who believed in the true law. Whole bunch of terms nobody even knows anymore. That's the problem. That's the problem here. And for lawyers to argue, to make this case, it's about discrimination. This is absurd and outrageous. Absurd. So where does it end? Where does it end? All right, so look. This is why the public polling project is so damn important. Who else asked these questions knowing full well that these fights were coming? Number one. Number two, who else asked them in a fair, unbiased, untainted way without leading the respondent, without tainting the entire questionnaire or the survey? If we were to have a referendum on this, if Florida, I'll tell you right now, and mark my words, if the state of Florida put this on a ballot, and this was a proposition, amendment, whatever, this would go down in flames. This would be more than 60% of the vote. Nationally, this would be close to 60%. You understand what I'm telling you? It could even go above it. I'm telling you it could. It could be 64, 65% based on who is undecided here. Or claims to be undecided. They're full of crap. This would go down in a blaze of glory. And I find it actually insulting that they even try to compare this issue like this is a gay man's issue. Alexander the Great may have been in love with his right-hand man in Feisty, but he didn't castrate himself when the Hindu Kush proved a little difficult to conquer.
Or forced others.
But the point is, they're making a conversation, they're making it, because their argument is so weak and so unsupported, they're trying to draw in others to identify with it. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the truth is, being gay and being transgender is not the same thing. None of the gay men in my life think they're women.
No.
None of them. So this call out to gay men yesterday, oh, they're insulting you. It's and on the first day of Pride Month. This has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with it. All right. Moving on here. All right. Let's bring up I'm damn near even afraid to bring it up. All right. So let me give it a one over of what we're doing here. So what is being tracked, which is making me think certain things should be tracked that I didn't initially think that we should include in the tracker. I am starting to think now that maybe perhaps we should include them in the tracker. So Biden's approval on various issues, foreign policy, immigration, right? The usual, all right? Biden's approval, oh no, that's it. Just so generally, trade, things like that. What we normally ask sub-approval categories, right? And then, of course, there must be something with the connection. I don't know if you guys can see that. If you can, I'm sorry. It looks like the wire to the camera is probably flaking out on me, but it's glitching a little bit on my end. If it is on yours, I'm sorry. If you have some kind of, I may get rid of it because if somebody's got some kind of,
like epilepsy.
Yeah, like epilepsy issues, I don't want to hurt them. I'm not seeing it all the time, but I'll let you know when I see it again. You tell me whether or not, because I'm serious, that could hurt somebody.
Yeah, no, but somebody asked.
There it goes. Did you see it?
Subliminal messaging that I'm trying to sneak in.
Vote for, right? Donate, or here's no, here's my critics. It'd be like, donate to the polling project, as if we make anything. All right, so in any event, so we're doing Biden's approval, we're doing Biden's sub-approval, congressional leadership ratings, right? So we'll ask about Chuck Schumer, we'll ask about Mitch McConnell, we'll ask about Kevin McCarthy, we'll ask about Nancy Pelosi, we'll ask their favorabilities. I'll let you know if you want to look through that way, and I'll tell you when it goes, when I see it. You tell me whether or not you see it. That will prove that it's the wire. It's the wiring. We're gonna do that. What else are we going to track? Vaccine stuff, right? Have you been vaccinated? Do you plan to get vaccinated, or do you not plan at all? Which one is most closely resembles your whatever? However we asked last time.
In-person learning.
Yeah, in-person learning. We're going to ask about that as well because look, if you're in Florida or you're in some of these other places that have come to their census on schools, believe it or not, there are still a ton of people who don't want to go back to school next year. There are still a ton of people who think that we should put these diapers on our children's faces, even though there now is no evidence that that works at all. And in fact, never was for children. All right. We want to ask as well about the safety of the vaccine. What do you believe the vaccine? I feel like we should have done that last time. How confident are you? Maybe we'll kind of do. We're like Gallup. How much confidence do you have in? We very much like that measure, like old school Gallup, George Gallup. A great deal, very little, none at all, kind of thing. And then we also want to ask as well about what was the Second Amendment issues. We're going to do that. But some things I'm starting to wonder whether or not, and by the way, the one vaccine question, we asked already, the in-person learning, we asked already. So I guess that'll be tracking at least for the time being. Yeah. Trust in institutions. I don't really think we need to, it's been 3 months since the last poll. We could do trust in institutions again. It's on there right now. I didn't take it off.
Authority, though.
Yeah. I was thinking of adding a few, which we could do. And if you guys have suggestions for that, you can go to peoplespundit.locals.com and drop it in here. Drop it in the chat. We always go by, because Laura gets a chance to look at what you guys say. I do not. So I go back and I look at the live chat. Drop it in the live chat. What else was in there, Laura? Hold on one second.
Didn't you write it down?
I did, and I put it on my notes put it on my notes on my phone. Yeah, because I'm afraid to turn on the thing, guys. It's also like really bad weather, so it's possible.
Yeah, apparently our mic picks up the downpouring of the...
Oh, you guys can hear that?
Yeah.
Oh
like,
my
Did
God.
you get a water fountain?
Not yet. All right, so of course, tracking comfortable sharing political beliefs. That we always ask that. Now, that's a matter of whether or not that's a go-to. The social desirability identifiers, all right, let's call them. That is going to be in every survey from here on out, because the wealth of information that we're getting from this is probably the most valuable data that we're collecting. All right, how does it change? Are there certain events that influence it? Right? There's a really interesting stuff, and I think over time it's going to reveal to us something that we haven't seen or maybe weren't even expecting, right? But we're the only ones who did that before the election. We're the only ones who continued to do it. And, a lot of people like who your neighbor is going to vote for, right? Like Robert did that at Trafalgar. He became known for that. There's other ways of asking as well. I think Roberts is probably the best. Because the social media thing is we gravitate to each other who believes they agree with another person. We don't, unfortunately. We do not interact with each other the way social media promised, which was that, it was going to influence and open up debate. It was going to promote debate between different viewpoints. That's not happening. The origin of the coronavirus. We're going to be asking about the belief in the origin of the coronavirus. And I was thinking of throwing Fauci's favorability, but it's like kind of late in the game to get a baseline for Dr. Fauci's favorability.
Because too many people have. You should have got it before.
Yeah.
During Trump's time.
And we asked. We should have. And we asked about UFOs before the 60 Minutes interview. And I'm strongly considering putting that as a tracker. Yeah, because of all of the reports. And I know there's more coming. So wouldn't it be great if there's more videos that are going to be coming out, folks. The government's got a lot more, and it's coming. So wouldn't it be great if we had been tracking this the whole time to see if people's opinions change on that? And I'm thinking, all four. All right? And again, the Economic Confidence Index. Of course. The Registered Voter Economic Confidence Index, the only one in existence. All right? Yeah, you can go. Are you seeing it up there when it happens? So you're not. So it is it is indeed the cable.
Not
all right?
the camera.
Yeah, which is most unfortunate. All right. But then again, it started to do it like crazy when the weather was getting nuts. It's always hardwired in. So I don't, know how that could influence it, but I guess it can. All right, so then there's that. There was all weekend long. Last week, Laura and I were in the car, and I was driving. It was like the day after a show. And I'm like, you know what? I want to ask this. And I can't remember what it was. All weekend, all Memorial Day weekend, I was thinking about it, and I couldn't figure it out. So I'm opened up to suggestions as always, and we'll be happy to take them. We are going to. I am a little bit slammed today, so we're gonna have a shorter show. All right. It's just too many hours, too many things, not enough hours. So I was thinking for the locals community, maybe later if you guys aren't doing anything when it's done, because I wanted to have it done by now. I'll take your suggestions. I'll mix them around a little bit. I'll see what can be added, what can't, and then maybe today I'll do a little locals thing later where we can talk about whether you guys like it or not. And I'll give you a link so you can look at it and go over it. All right.
But you also have to discuss Thursday for locals.
Oh, of course.
We're gonna be.
It's gonna be a bit busy day on Thursday. So it looks like we'll be doing the Friday meetup again because which everybody seemed to like. Yeah. The Friday meetup, no news with booze, had the largest Zoom participation we have ever had so far, which has only been 3 so far. But I find it a little funny the Friday hangout party got a lot more bodies than the serious talking one, and we did talk serious, which is it was a lot of fun, as always great questions. But tomorrow we will be from 5 to 6. I will be co-hosting for Don, basically with Don, basically filling in for Dave Perkins, who had a family emergency. And then after that, I'm gonna jump on with Eric Hunley on Unstructured at 7. I'll be a guest on his show at 7 o'clock. So Thursday will be a pretty busy night. Maybe even we'll have some things that we could talk about and share with them. But we will see. I'd like to get this out in the field ASAP. I want this done basically immediately. It's now June 2nd. Kids are getting out of school if they're not already. And people are going to get busy with summer. And it will be hard to reach certain people. That is a reality of polling. It has been a reality for many years, and it's going to get worse with all of the things we know already as time goes forward. The last thing they're going to want to do is talk to somebody that they associate with a media outlet. All right? So there's that. What am I missing here? There was something else I needed to bring up before we went to commercial real quick. There was something else. Oh, right. And that online portions are going perhaps take a little bit more time. And here's why. California, can't believe I'm saying this. California thinks that pollsters should pay respondents a living wage to take a survey. I am freaking kidding you not. All right? This is what we're dealing with. All right? So it's like, I really do, part of me, Laura, really does believe that this is the boys club, the old dinosaur wing of the polling industry, who makes 4 to 5 times more by polling live caller, okay, than we do. I'm starting to believe that this is their way to like rent seek online pollsters or online data collection modes out of the industry. The cynic in me is saying that this is ridiculous. I'll be the first one to tell you right now, you don't deserve a living wage to do your civic duty, which is what this is. When it's like all pollsters are not equal, and just because I am getting responses online does not necessarily mean we're incentivizing people. Now, there's always an incentive, but not every incentive is the same, and sure as hell not every incentive is cash. So I don't know where they're coming up with this, but they are. And there have been, this is pandemic thinking. Like, I decided to sit on my butt and collect unemployment. So I signed up because Orange Man bad, you know, and I got to tell the world. So I signed up for this panel poll, and now I just want to click all day and pull on my tubing. And now I want to force somebody to pay me a living wage to do it. This is insanity. It's right up there with discriminating against trans students who want to participate in the sports of the biology they identify with.
Like, wouldn't you?
It's your civic. Listen, this is why the pitch is the way it is. At Big Data Poll, when we call people, we do not have a traditional prompt. We simply let people know that this is a voluntary interview. It will only take a few short minutes of your time. It's voluntary, but it is vital, and it's appreciated. We basically tell them, this is your civic duty. Give us a few minutes of your time. Mm-hmm. We know you're busy, but it's very important to know this information. So I honestly can't believe this. And then, by the way, we're also pioneers of take a survey, choose a charity. So how much money are you going to deny St. Jude's? How much money are you going to deny the Sierra Club if you're a lefty? How much money are you going to deny Samaritan's Purse if you're a righty? And that's the beautiful thing about incentivizing people with charity. 2 reasons. 1, it's easy to get them to take it to pick a charity. It's like, maybe I don't have a couple of bucks, but if I do this survey, $2, whatever it is, will go towards the charity. Oh, by the way, and it's a charity of my choice, and there's different charities ranging on a broad spectrum to nonpartisan whatsoever to clearly partisan like Sierra Club, all right, and others. And the second part about it is it promotes civic duty. It does. So when you're telling people it's for charity, you're like double civic dutying them. Like, 1, take a poll. It's just as important as voting. Number 2, by the way, you're contributing to a cause that you can get behind. It's like double the civic duty. But now, and by the way, we're not the only ones to do that. SurveyMonkey does that. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do it. And if they still do it, how much money are you taking from SurveyMonkey? How much money are you taking from the charities that are getting streams of revenue from SurveyMonkey, which I'm sure does far more than we do? Far more. Because they're a DIY tool. They're a do-it-yourself tool. They have tons of clients who just sign up and take the damn survey, pick the charity of their choice. You can be a client and you can be a panelist, sign up, and actually choose the charity you want. Same thing. Or you can be a client and design a survey yourself without having to pay an expert, which I got to tell you, look, power to SurveyMonkey and power to the people who do it. But unless you have an in-house pollster or market researcher that knows what they're doing, you're going to waste a lot of money. So from me to corporations, that's like, well, no, it's not. You know what I'd liken it more to? Trying to become a day trader with no trading experience, so you get yourself an E-Trade account and you lose thousands of dollars. Because you don't know what an option is, but you heard about them. They're really cool. You bought a bunch of calls thinking it was a strategy. I mean, I can't tell you how many phone calls we field from corporations that tried these tools and are like, yeah, I'm just not happy with the results. What am I doing wrong? A lot. All right, so, but more power to you. And if you have somebody who does know what they're doing, then it's a great tool. And I can't imagine how much money those charities get from places like that. And now California wants to step in, and it's got to be a living wage for those people. Charity's not getting that living wage. That's going to those people. So remember that. All right, so with that, it's 11:36. I'm going to take a really quick break. When we come back, I'd like to hear your suggestions. And I'm sure, Laura, there are some in the chat. So just throw them at me, and hopefully it'll steer some conversations. Because, again, I would like to get this done and move forward. I've about maxed out in my head what I think can be done. HR1, I think we got we're on a pretty solid footing there with the last one we did. I don't think we really have to track it anymore. What we could do, maybe, with the election stuff, election reform issue, maybe we could basically test different parts of these bills that we're seeing throughout the country. All right, that's a potential idea. All right, I also think maybe Israel and the Middle East. There should be a question about Israel and the Middle East, whether or not you saw it.
There it is.
I was going to drive myself crazy with that. Yeah, whether or not flatly you sympathize more with the Israeli cause or the Palestinian cause. And I actually think, speaking of Gallup, because they've asked that question for so long, we should generally try to mirror what Gallup says, because Gallup has not updated theirs yet. And also what they have done is change their methodology pretty substantially over time. And, I always have respect for Gallup, because they are the original pollster and the original gold standard in presidential tracking. They're an incredible, important part of our history. But let's face it, they didn't stop polling horse races because they were confident in their methodology. They stopped polling horse races because they were not confident in their ability to be accurate anymore. So I have a little bit of an issue with that. The only true test of a pollster's accuracy is on election day. There is no other way to know whether a pollster is accurate or not. And if they can't poll an election, then they cannot poll issues that are of incredible, immense importance to the national dialogue, such as, do you support or oppose impeaching President whomever? Such as, do you sympathize more with the Israeli or Palestinian cause? Frankly, if you don't poll elections, I'm not sure what business you have publicly polling anyway. It is the only way for us to know, yes, to gauge you. Are you credible or not? Should I look at this polling result and say it's credible? You know what? It's Gallup, it's credible. What the hell does that mean? George Gallup is gone.
Yeah, he's long gone.
Long gone. He's been gone since before their methods went to junk. He was gone long before Barack Obama's Justice Department threatened Gallup to stop polling the way they do. Otherwise, perhaps it's a civil rights violation. Remember that? Anyway, it's 11:40. Let's take a real quick break. When we come back, we will go over. We shall go over some of your ideas. This will not even be 2 minutes and 36 seconds, as Bad Habit is. It will be more like a minute and a half. Get your stuff in the chat right now. Let's get it together. Put it in there if you didn't already. We want to hear from you. And do not miss on Thursday. We'll be back. peoplespundit.locals.com. peoplespundit.locals.com.
Skip.
How much you wanna bet that I can get you back inside your head before the summer ends and spread a little love. Just for a little fun, I'll make you come back to me before the rise of every sun. Baby, it's meant to be. I know you got a man, but he don't understand. You're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette. 'Cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. There's rhythm in our love, it's impressive, excessive. You can't make this stuff up. My chest beats, it's restless, wakes the neighbors up above. Yeah, baby, come and show me love. Baby, come and show me love. Because you're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette. 'Cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah.
Yeah. And we're back to Inside the Numbers with the People's Pundit. I'm your host, Rich Barris, the People's Pundit. Join the locals community at peoplespundit.locals.com, and you will too have input in the public polling project. Or, like I've said before, if any of you are contributors yet you're not on the locals community, you can of course leave it in the comment box if you have a suggestion that you'd like us to take into consideration. All right. And with that, I will turn to Laura, figure 8 in this puppy, and we will. You want something to sit on, love?
No, I could just levitate.
She's levitating.
I'm good like that.
It's incredible.
It's like Jesus and
walking on water. Oh, Peter, ye of little faith, why did you doubt? So anyway, what is the public thinking?
So I really like this question. Dark Vader 68 mentioned a consumer question almost. Let's see, where is it?
We have the Economic Confidence Index, don't forget.
Yes,
all right.
But a certain question about American-made products in itself. Do you...
That's interesting. Keep going.
Yes,
I like this idea. Keep going.
¿Dónde
Stop. Ask again, buddy, if she lost the play. They go by so quickly, and I'm just jotting down notes as we do this. So if you see me looking down, that is what I'm doing, okay? Because if I don't, I'll forget it. Like I forgot Israel versus Palestine.
There it is. All right. My question, thought, is: do you feel buying American-made products is important? If you answer yes, how much are you willing to pay more for the same product if it's made in America?
Okay. How about this as a
But
compromise?
you have to tweak it.
How about this as a compromise? Or not even a compromise. How about this as another section altogether?
Mm-hmm.
No, I got a question, and I'd have to bring up Chrome to do it. I have a question that I tailored that I was considering putting in this survey, which asks whether or not, basically it's meant to gauge support for the entire America First movement minus Donald Trump. So taking Donald Trump out of it altogether, do Americans, and what is the actual percentage, the breakdown? Do Americans believe that U.S. public policy should be putting the interests of U.S. citizens first, America first, or do you believe that the U.S. should put the global interest first, and the interest of the U.S. and its allies? Even I think I tailored it like that. How about we ask something like that, and we'll make an America First section, because I am light on sections. After removing a bunch of questions that we put on the first survey that we're not putting on this one, there is some room like that. So I like that. All right, so wait a minute. So I'm going to put America First section here. America First sentiment. Let's say that. And yeah, America First section I'll put, because I'll remember what that means. All right, so you're saying You copied that, I'm sure. Copied and pasted it. Yeah. I like this idea. So let's ask first the general policy of America first, but we don't even want to say that term really because we don't want to invoke Donald Trump at all. The idea is trying to gauge support versus America first versus globalism. That's the idea. Do you think that policy, government policy, should be putting the interests of U.S. citizens first, or do you think that America should be putting the interests of the world first, basically? But it's worded, and you'll see soon, it's worded very differently. And then, as a follow-up to that, we could say, how important is it? Is that what he wants to know? How important is it to you to buy products made in America?
Do you find it important for American-made products?
Okay, for products to be made in America.
Yeah, well,
I have a question in the phone bank about this, but I'd have to tweak it. In the question bank, I'd have to tweak it a little bit because it was more about how important is it for durable goods to be manufactured in the United States. There was different sections. It was like durable goods, consumer goods. What else was there? Defense stuff. I mean, it was a major question, and it was like, tell us how important it is to you that this be made in or how key or what critical. It's been 3 years, so I'd have to go back and look. But it was really over the top. Remember minerals, mining these certain minerals that the Chinese basically have a lock on globally, and there are environmental regulations too that deny us from being able to mine these minerals, and they have applications for defense. Do you remember that? And then there was something that had happened, and it rose to the prominence at the same time Donald Trump was trying to push his literal America First agenda when he first got first got into the White House. So it was more than 3 years ago actually. But actually I really like that. And then the second, what's the follow up to that though? Are you willing to pay more for okay, all right, for American made goods? Yeah, I like this idea.
I would.
It's an America First section. It's new. Yeah, Dark, we're doing that. That's in there. That made the cut. As a matter of fact, I like it so much I already put it in the thing and updated on locals. All right. Next.
Vince wants to know about in-person and virtual school question. There should be something about whether you believe CRT should be taught to students.
That's going in there. That's going in there. And I even got the question already made. This is why I love doing this with these guys, because I forgot to put that on the survey. The in-person learning is still there, but let's see if I can take the risk of reading that question to them. What do you think?
No,
should I? Don't. Okay. You guys will see it in a little bit. It basically, I don't mention critical race theory at all, the term. And I think that's very important when we're polling public opinion, that we don't make these terms known to the respondent unless it's necessary. Because we're not talking about how political parties or media filters it. We want to get to the core of what they believe. So instead, we essentially define critical race theory and ask people when it comes to education in public schools, which comes closer to your view is basically how it is. And then it says children should be taught X or children should be taught Y. And X, of course, is the general idea that America is an inherently racist country and that some people can't get ahead no matter what. And then the second part is that we should be teaching the children that America is a great country and that you can do whatever you want if you apply yourself. Basically, it's generally how it is. I mean, that's the difference between critical race theory. That basically, some people, no matter what, because of their race, because of their color, are unable to climb the ladder because America is racist and has a racist history. And I remember actually when I ran this through we have software that tests questions, whether or not they cause fatigue or whether or not they're hard to understand. I mean, it's really, really, really cool stuff actually. But this told me that he thought it was a little bit too long. So the responses themselves are a little bit too long. You should consider shortening them. Sometimes I will flatly ignore them, as I did here, by the way. As I did here. Because it was more important to me to correctly define what we were talking about.
And that's what Vince said, and that's what his thought was too, to define the term.
Yeah, I think that honestly, it matters more, Vince, that you get the term rather than you get the definition of the term than you do the term itself. And because sometimes it taints people's responses when you actually use that term. For instance, the wall, right? If you asked voters in Arizona or Texas or anywhere, do you support the construction of a physical barrier along the border, the U.S.-Mexico border, or the U.S. southern border with Mexico, to deter illegal immigration? You will get, first of all, you'll get a majority, a significant majority. Secondly, you will get a higher number than if you say the wall. Because now you put this around the neck of you hung that term around the neck of Donald Trump. It becomes about your support for Donald Trump, not your support for the policy. By the way, we saw that with Obamacare. Do you support or oppose Obamacare? Got a much more negative response than do you support or oppose the Affordable Care Act? Always did, always will. All right? And that doesn't really get to the crux of public opinion, to the heart of it. And I think, honestly, many media polls did you all a serious injustice by using the term Obamacare. Or disservice, not injustice, disservice. Look at where public support is right now. Look at where I don't know what I said that set her off, but look at where public support is right now for the ACA or Obamacare versus where it was in 2010, 2011, 2012. Using a term that tainted, that poisoned the survey, prevented us from being able to see the potential that law had to become more popular. Or prevented people, the public, and politicians. The truth of the matter was, Ted Cruz was always right about that. It was worth, if you're a conservative, if you're a limited government person, it was worth shutting the government down over that. Remember that? And Boehner said he was holding the country hostage and, everything was going to pot and he was being irresponsible. No, Ted Cruz knew that you have to fight like a Democrat to beat a Democrat. Ted Cruz knew that the minute Medicaid was expanded, like Robert and I have talked about ad nauseum, the minute Medicaid was expanded in the states, that law would become more popular. Because the difference between insurance and coverage is a hard case to make. You have insurance. Oh, I have health insurance, but are you covered? Totally different story, but that doesn't matter once they get the card, once they get the cheap visits, right? Once they get you to pay for the 5 kids they shouldn't have had out of wedlock. It's over. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so, by the way, Ted Cruz, again, was right. So who was demonstrating more fealty to the Constitution? The Paul Ryans and the John Boehners, or the irresponsible right-wing nutcases like Ted Cruz? No, Ted Cruz did what he told voters would do. He would do. When he was elected in Texas, he said, I will do everything in my power to stop the Affordable Care Act. I will do everything in my power to oppose and get rid of Obamacare. Unlike John McCain, unlike Mr. Virtuous, unlike Mr. Morality himself, Don's best friend, John McCain. What's more responsible? What's more virtuous? What's more moral? Keeping your promise to the voters or lying to them? Because John McCain is a liar, was a liar. A petty, bitter, vindictive, old liar. That's all he was. Nothing more.
He's just mad Americans didn't want him as president.
Nothing more.
Bitter.
Rejected, bitter old man.
Ego.
jealous. It's Mitt Romney in a couple years without the war, without the service record, right? That's Mitt Romney's him without the service record in a couple years. Honestly, what do we elect them to do? Exactly. So when you elect a politician, when you cast a vote for a politician, do you not expect them to do what they told you they would do? Is it more virtuous for a man like John McCain to cut ads claiming that he championed border fencing at the and anti-amnesty when that was a lie, when he was at the front lines of the fight against Obamacare, just because he needed to lie to you for the current, he needed to lie to you in the here and now, because Kelly Ward was riding up his butt. He needed to get rid of Kelly Ward, so he lied to you. That's what John McCain did. He's moral? He was a moral man? I don't think so. So I'd rather listen, from personally, me, I would rather a complete dirtbag in his or her personal life, a sexual deviant who chases women like they're, but who gets elected and does everything he or she says they're going to do, or told me that they were going to do to earn my vote, than a fake, pretentious, lying piece of trash who pretends to be a decent person but stabs you in the back every legislative chance they get. Give me the Lyndon Johnsons. Give all of it. Give me the Teddy Roosevelts. These were not like outwardly decent people. Lyndon Johnson used the N-word a lot. He did. So did Nixon, by the way. This creation of like a decent presidential moral man, it's a modern myth. It never existed. Give me a Andrew Jackson. I don't care what they are in their personal life, on a personal level, as long as they do what they say they're going to do when they are campaigning to get in office. Because here's the little secret anyway. None of them are decent. It's all an act. Very few of them are moral people. The only thing that separates them from each other is that some keep their promises and fight for their voters and some do not. Actually, few fight for their voters and keep their promises, and most do not. And that's a bigger problem on the Republican Party side, by the way. Democrats are what they are, but they are unabashedly proud to be that. And generally speaking, they stand up to people, things, organizations, institutions, governments, elected officials, parties, anything, whatever. They stand up for their voters. Republicans tuck tail and run like cowards. That's the truth. And they're all dirtbags. So, which one would you rather have? The one that fights for you and keeps their promises, even if they're a dirtbag? Or the one who's really nice to your face, and then the minute you turn around, they plunge that puppy right in your spine? Anyway, getting back on suggestions while we have a few minutes. And you know what? One of these days I should ask a question like that. What do you guys think? One of these days I should ask voters a question like that. What do you prefer? A supposedly morally or publicly decent elected official, or one who is personality-wise, less than perfect, but yet keeps their promises? Which one would you prefer? An authentic whole, or a really nice fraud, basically? And I would have to marinate on that question to ask it right. But that's a question worth asking.
Not influencing.
Yeah, where you're not influencing. Mm-hmm. That is a question worth asking. All right, let's get a couple other suggestions. And again, we're gonna go soon because we do have a short show today. But keep dumping them in the comment section, and I will read every single one of them. I promise. And then we will go out. I'll throw it out on locals today. I really want to get this wrapped today. So at the very least, if I can't hit launch tonight, I can launch it tomorrow. All right? Because we should be able to collect pretty quick, even with California's ridiculous issue. Go ahead.
Okay. So, Neil Harris, he's not sure how to do this, but something comparing the difference between the January 6th people and Antifa people who have been arrested and the way they are treated. Like,
I don't think most people would understand. I don't think most people know. I understand where he's going with that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it either, though. Because I don't think most people know that non-violent first-time offenders are being held in solitary confinement because congressmen and women want to pretend they were in a war or something. By the way, I hope everybody had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. I just want to say that. And, I don't even... I'm a veteran, but I don't consider that at all. I think that is not... Veterans Day is another day. Memorial Day is for people who gave it all.
Lost.
And their families.
And the families who
Yes.
sacrificed.
And so, I hope everybody, had a safe one, because there's always, sadly, tragedy comes with celebration sometimes. So everyone's got to be smart about it. I don't know about you, but I didn't see it all. But I love the series The Pacific. I tried to catch as much as I could, although I'm too busy to sit down and watch a whole series like that. But it strikes me as how young some of those men were. Boys. They're boys. And yet they jump off the ship at Guadalcanal like that in the face of a gunbed. A Japanese gunbed. John Basilone could have went home and stayed with the rest of his life with his beautiful wife. He was already the hero of Guadalcanal. He was already one of the, if not the most famous servicemen in the country. He could have just went home with his beautiful wife and lived the rest of his life alone, but he didn't. He re-upped and went to Iwo Jima and died the very first Battle of Iwo Jima on D-Day. By the way, he died leading a tank through a minefield after he single-handedly took out gunbeds. I mean, the guy was...
He was feared.
We just don't... I fear we don't have that in us right now. I don't fear. We don't have that in us anymore. We sadly do not. Some of those... They weren't men. They were kids. Kids. Compared to our modern definition. Back then, they were grown men. They were men. Now you can't even convince kids their age to do their homework. I mean, they just sit on the beach in the fetal position, hoping. Sadly, they'd just be waiting for their turn. Because if you don't get off the beach, you are certain to die,
Yeah,
but it's still difficult to muster the courage to
run off
go forward.
Yeah.
But it's the only way to live. Unfortunately, I sadly don't believe there's a generation that has that deep down. Where it's like, listen, if I stay here, I'm going to die. I have to press forward. That's the job. Get up and do it. And I think most of them, their minds would just break and they would lay on the beach shivering in the fetal position. And somebody like a John Basilone would die trying to pull their cowardly bodies off the beach.
Yes.
You stay, you die.
Well, the thing is, in those kind of situations, my mental fortitude would be, I'm dying either way, might as well.
Well, you hope so. You don't know until you're there, Laura. That's the truth of it. Trust me. I know, and everybody wants to believe that.
Well, I'm saying I'm dead.
But until those
I'm
shells
gonna
go off
kill
next
somebody.
to you and my grandfather was in World War II, and he never talked to anybody, not even his own children, my dad and my uncle. And for some reason, I would go in the den with him as a kid. I remember when I was in the Army, this is nothing compared to the stories that old man told me. A blitzkrieg. You just don't know how you're going to act until you're in that position, is my point. You just don't know. But I sadly think that they don't have it. They just don't have it, Laura. These kids, they don't have it. I'm sorry.
No, they don't.
God, I hope I'm wrong.
No.
Our best bet is for the Chinese to try to occupy us or something, or some enemy. Because they're not getting through the swamps of Louisiana. It's going to be bad for them. That's our only hope.
Yeah, for them to come here.
It's funny, the America, all of this, the media apparatus and the rest, the ones they all hate. They are our only hope.
All
All right, moving on.
Dreary Spider 1, Laura Barris, polling on teachers' unions approval.
Yeah, that's it. That, you know what? I think we'd probably get an I'll put that down as a possible. I like that idea because let's see how many end up in the teacher section, in the school section. All right. And I'll even put it on the thing. Hold on. Where is it? Wuhan. Okay. So, school, COVID / union. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. COVID / unions. What did somebody suggest though before with schooling? And I had
CRT.
Yeah, critical race theory. I have the question. It's just not on the questionnaire. Critical, and I want to make sure I don't forget it. That's why, like I said, when he brought it up. All right, so school, COVID in person, union, critical race theory. I think I probably do have a spot for a union question. I think we're probably going to get an overinflated result. I just do.
Okay.
There are so many people who will not want to say they don't like teachers. But if you put it up for a vote, they'd be burned. You know what I mean? I think it's one of those questions that really is susceptible to several kinds of cognitive biases. But we'll see. We'll see. I like that idea. I do.
Okay. Lingus Rob, a possible matrix question on what the respondent believes is the biggest existential threat. Sorry,
I heard you. So, do you mean by state? So, you mean by nation state, right? Or even maybe non-actor, non-state actor threats like terrorism or something. Because I actually do really I like that idea a lot.
I think you should put all threats and then have people.
Yeah, but it's like, do you mean like ranking the nations by threat? Is that, and we could do a rank distribution score? That would be cool.
That would be cool. But I think he or she means towards America. What is the biggest threat?
Well, I do have. I didn't put it on locals. I do have a question about threats to First Amendment rights, and I was thinking
you could go anywhere with
putting it all in the bill, instead of having the because right now the section is enabled Second Amendment and self defense. Respondents don't see that. It's a way for me to organize my questions and my thoughts. But I was thinking of getting rid of that altogether and just making that section Bill of Rights. Right, so this way, it's based on everything you've heard and seen in the media, whatever. Do you believe that censorship, it poses a threat to the First Amendment and free speech rights? But it's more than that. Based on everything you've heard about censorship on social media and cancel culture, how much of a threat do you see this being to the First Amendment? And that's a good. Read that again though, real quick. That's a potential here. I'm putting this in potential, guys. All right, and you'll see it on there on locals. Critical race theory. That's in there. That's done. What was it? Threats. Did they respond? Threats to America, because I like the idea of ranking nation states, and that's something we could track a lot. So who do you view to be the top threat, and give them, China, Russia, India, even though they're an ally, of course, I know, Germany, Pakistan, whatever.
all of them.
We could do a ton and have them rank them, which would be sick, and we could track that. How cool would it be? Because it would have been cool to see who 10 years ago would have said Russia, versus that would be really, really cool. All right. Love that. Did they respond, though, or what they meant?
Not yet.
You know what? Respond in the comment section, because we're going to take it out, but respond in the comment section for what you meant. Did you mean nation-state actors, like I was just talking about, or did you mean threats to America, like way of life stuff? Such as a threat to your First Amendment rights, a threat to your Second Amendment rights, right? God, that's good stuff. I'll tell you what. You guys have really great suggestions, and they set me off in these different directions that give me ideas. Oh, you got something you need to add? Go ahead.
I personally like.
Ooh, a personal like of Laura. Hit it.
Which is more important to you? This is from Aggie Martin.
I love the which is more important to you questions. Go ahead.
The policy stance of your representative or their moral character.
That's it. That's exactly something like that. More important. policy, stance or position, whatever, versus moral character. You know, it's kind of funny though. I'd probably tweak it a little bit because, again, the truth is none of them are moral. Very few of them. And I think I don't know where this new generation of Americans got it in their heads that any of these people are decent. You know, for many, many, many years, America had a very healthy, I would say it's a healthy, but also realistic notion of a politician, which is none of them are to be trusted. Authority in general. You don't trust authority. You don't. Because power corrupts. End of story. It's human nature. Somehow, like we were talking about in the beginning of the show with the segment on transgender females trying to participate with biological females or vice versa, we are forgetting these very we're forgetting natural laws, or we're not maybe it's more than forgetting, we're denying their existence. And I'm telling you, in the course of human history, the minute civilizations start doing that, you get nailed. Nature always has a way of fighting back. Mm-hmm. Always. You don't respect her, she'll make you respect her, whether it be wiping a civilization off the map or not. And I don't mean some act of God. I'm saying we will do it ourselves. It's like late stage Roman Republic stuff. Roman Empire, eventually, which was not the Republic. It was something totally different. But what did they lose? They lost their recognition of what Cicero called true law. Right? And that was a wrap. That was a wrap. All right, so great ideas. Keep them coming in the comment box. I really want to hear about them. Let's get this wrapped up today, buttoned up, tie a nice little bow on that puppy, and send it out. Because it'd be great to get this done before summer is in total full swing. And the reason why I called it late is because people are like, it's not spring anymore, it's summer. No, it's not. Technically isn't summer until June 21st. That's the summer solstice. All right? So, late spring, early summer. I know. Yeah, well, if I was a witch, believe me.
Sorry, I'm sick, so I'm...
Hocus pocus, never mind.
Yeah, don't do it.
I was going to make a disgusting comment.
No, be like Elsa and let it go.
I just can't stand the Disney XD propaganda anymore. The pro-Chinese propaganda. I'm trying to watch, shows with my kids. And this Kamala Harris was a freedom fighter? Are you kidding me? No, she wasn't. Kamala Harris locked up more black and brown people than anybody in her position ever. That's number one. And Kamala Harris didn't free anything except something from somebody's... The only thing she's freed is a Free Willy. Free Willy.
That's who she freed.
Kamala Harris is the original owner of the term Free Willy. Okay? Get out of here, freedom fighter. The hell out of here. And you don't want your daughter to grow up to be like Kamala Harris? Do you really? Could anybody honestly look me in the eye? Dads out there. I'm a father. My daughter's 9. Can you seriously tell me with a straight freaking face, whether you have a D, an R, or an I after your last name, can you seriously tell me with a straight face that you want your daughter to grow up to be like Kamala Harris? To do what Kamala Harris did to get ahead? No, you don't. And if you do, then child services should come to your house right now and remove that child from your custody because you're a pimp. Sign up for peoplespundit.locals.com. We love you, and we will see you in a few hours, actually, for those of you. We want to go over this, like I said, and get it out. Do not miss tomorrow. Don Smith's, just so you know, I'm filling in for Dave Perkins in hour 1, all right, from 5 to 6, and I'll be joining Don. We'll have a great time over there, so don't forget that. And then at 7 o'clock, I'll be on with Eric Hundley as his guest on Unstructured. All right, so don't forget, and we will see you tomorrow, for the most of you. General Wi-Fi.
What is going on in a few hours? Our locals.
We're just gonna look, at the very least, it's gonna be a live chat. Here's this questionnaire. What do you guys think? Live chat at the very least. If not, maybe even look. Locals hasn't given me the ability to live stream yet. This is why I'm busting their chops for it, because I need that right now. So it's just not that I'm trying to box out the rest of the world, but Locals community has added benefits of being part of our community. That's just the way it is. That's the point of signing up. And I would love to get into a chat that is a visual video live stream where it's just on the Locals platform and we could go over it in much more detail. The only other option, Laura, is a Zoom, maybe. That's the only option. Maybe you guys want to hold a Zoom just to talk about the questionnaire. Maybe that is the better way to go.
Just the questionnaire. Don't you guys get greedy.
You just a questionnaire. Yeah, just a questionnaire. But maybe that is the better way to go. But this is why I'm busting their chops. I get it. The larger communities will probably get the live stream first. Then maybe some of them have it already, but I do not. And this is why I've been being so incessant about it, because here we go now. We only do these surveys every few months. So if I don't have it now, 3 months from now, maybe I'll have it. But it won't do me much good if I get it in a week or something. Right? You understand what I'm saying? All right. So with that, I'm kicking rocks. I'm headed out of here. Follow me on Twitter still at peoples_pundit. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button on YouTube. We'd very much appreciate it. If you do like the videos, subscribe to People's Pundit Daily on YouTube. All right, hit that notification bell. That will let you know when we're going to go live. We'll see you in a few, folks. Thanks for joining us. As always, thanks for watching Inside the Numbers. All the best.
Have a great week.
Just today. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you Friday.
We'll see. Well,
Oh, no,
you'll
see
see
you
her.
tomorrow.
We should have little characters that jump back and forth on the screen right now. Shake their little bobbleheads like South Park. That'd be sick. All right, see you guys soon.
Oh, man.
We can get on a plane and take a one-way ride. Steal us away to find a place we can hide. It wouldn't take much to disappear for a night. Just to give into the need and leave it all behind.
Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. You're gonna be a